Hey, welcome back. Today I want to talk to you about a tool called TheWebMiner. This is an online tool for web data extraction. Now, what do I mean by web data extraction? In some of my previous screencasts, I talked about how you could grab data from websites when it's structured, right? When it's in tabular format. And that's pretty straightforward, right? We found some tables and we just cut and pasted them and we were able to just pop them right into a spreadsheet, and that was wonderful, right? And we learned all sorts of cool tricks for doing that. The trouble is that not all data on websites is nicely organized into tables for us, and so sometimes we need to use some tools to kind of organize that information for us. Here's a good example. Okay, I'm at the overhere.com website here, and I happen to be looking at, what am I looking at here? I'm looking at a list of Canadian indie music friendly record stores. Okay, so it's just a short list. And so this list is, I mean, in theory, this list is short enough that I could just cut and paste the information. This information isn't structured in a very nice way. I mean, I guess you could say that there's, okay, there looks like, I mean, these are, this is a kind of a table, but it's not organized in a way that we're going to be able to build a really nice database out of it. Like, I mean, I could try to select all this information, and I think you can see what's going to happen here. Let's just try copying that. And then even if I do my Command-Shift-V to paste without formatting, yeah, see, like, it's separating everything like that. I could go ahead and do that, but this isn't really organized in a way that I'm going to be able to build a nice database out of it. And that's really what I'd like to do. And the whole purpose of getting this information into some sort of structured format is so that we can then, you know, build kind of a working database for ourselves, so that we can automate some processes, like maybe have a database that we can look things up in very quickly, or we could create like a mailing list or all sorts of things like that. So, you know, this has, I mean, this is nice that all this information is here for us, but it sure would be nice if we could extract this in a slightly more organized way. And so, I mean, I could just go in and manually cut and paste these individual things, right? I could do that. And I'm sure you can imagine that this is going to take some time to do. So we're not going to do it that way. Let's see if we can find a better way of doing this. The WebMiner is a free tool. Well, free. There is a, if you have a look at the pricing section down here, their pricing model is based on the quantity of data that you are extracting. So if you're using this to extract a large amount of data, this isn't, you're going to have to pay. But just for a small amount of data, which is really what we were talking about, okay? In this case, by small, they mean like fewer than 500 data units. Then it's free, and that's no problem. And that's what we're going to be doing here, okay? And that certainly is going to serve our purposes quite nicely. In order to access the free tool here, what we need to do is click on the Tools section up here. And by the way, if you're curious, you can also watch, they've got a nice little demo. You can watch a little YouTube video that demonstrates how they use the WebMiner to extract data. I think the example is going to Amazon.com and finding, you know, extracting all the product data for a particular category. So you could certainly watch that demo and then practice that yourself. I wanted something a bit more music oriented, so that's why I'm using this as an example. The first thing you need to do is you need to grab the address of the actual website, okay? You can actually do this along many addresses if you want, like if you had many listing pages, but in this case, I just want to pull this off this single page, okay? And here's where you need to do a little bit of thinking. What you're going to do here is you are going to give the WebMiner an example of the information that you're trying to pull out, and it's going to go to that page and see if it can find the other matching items. Let me show you what I mean. In this case, let's start with just the name of the record store. Okay, the record store here is AudioPile, and this one is called The Beat Goes On, and this one is called Boomtown. Okay, we're just going to get an example. The first example here, I'm copying that, and I'm just pasting it right inside here. Okay, we're just going to start with that because I just want to show you how this works. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to click this button right here. Okay, so this dig button, and see what it did? It went to that page and extracted all of the other record stores. So AudioPile, The Beat Goes On, Boomtown, all the way down to Zula Records in Vancouver. So that's pretty cool, okay, but I mean, it's just a list of record stores. Let's get some more information. What would be good information to have? Well, for me, let's say I was helping to plan a tour for my artist, and I know they were going to visit these different stores. I'm sure it would be nice to get the addresses. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to add a new column here. I'm going to put the address right here. While I'm at it, I'll create a new column. Let's see if I can actually separate out. Here, this is getting a little hard to cut and paste here. Maybe I'll just. I think I can do this. There we go, Vancouver. Okay, I'll paste that in there. And all I'm doing is I'm just pasting the information from the first record. You know, audio file is my first record, and I'm just basically telling WebMiner, here's the example of what I want you to look up, okay? And go find it for all the rest of the records. In this case, now, again, a limitation of this is that you can only have 5 columns, okay? You could, in theory, just run this a couple different times, but that's actually fine for us. I'm not planning on mailing them anything at this point in time, so maybe it would be handy to just get their phone number here, okay? I could have used the postal code, but I think phone would be fine. And like I said, you could run this a couple times and get the rest of the information if you want to, but I'm just doing this for a demo. Okay, so I've got this. I've added these extra columns. Now let's run this again and see if it can find the equivalent records for the rest of these stores down here. So I'll go ahead and click dig, and it's loading, it's loading, it's loading, it's loading. Hey, what do you think? Pretty cool. Let's just kind of do a spot check here. So the first one, audio file, commercial drive, British Columbia. Yeah, that looks good. Let's go down here to Zulu Records, all the way down here. It's 1972, British Columbia. Let's see. 1972, British Columbia. Yeah. Okay, so this looks like it's accurate. A little bit of wonkiness here I've noticed. I'm not sure whether this is a limitation of my browser or whether it's the tool is screwing up a little bit. It seems to have inserted this blank column. It's no big deal. Like, that's really, really easy to deal with. So you've got all this information. Yeah, I suppose because it looks like it's in a table, you could just cut and paste this, but it actually gives you the opportunity to download this data in CSV format, right? And we love CSV format. It's such a great format. So I'm going to go ahead and download this data, okay, and I will find this. Here's my data right here, okay, data.csv. Why don't I hide this, and why don't I just grab this file? There's my data file right there. I'm just going to go ahead and open that in LibreOffice. Check it out. LibreOffice is ready to import this text and all this data here, and we see this is looking really good. So I'm going to click OK, and look, we have the beginnings of a database here. We could add labels if we wanted to. You might be wondering, why does this have the word phone at the end? It looks to me like WebMiner was not able to extract. It basically just copied the word phone at the end here. So hey, that's no problem, right? Because we could just really quickly get rid of that. This is the easiest text cleanup in the world. Let's just go to find and replace, and I'm just going to find and replace the string space phone with nothing. And that I left a space there, space phone, and I'm just replacing. I don't see that anywhere else here, so I'm just going to replace it all here. Boom, all gone. Okay, I just cleaned up that data. Pretty nice, eh? So we've got 19 records. I know it's not a huge list, but I just wanted to show this to you as an example of a way that you can use WebMiner to extract data from pages that don't look all that organized. Okay, but now you've got a nice organized list here, and that could be the backbone for a really nice database you're building. Okay, I hope that was helpful. In some upcoming screencast, either the next screencast or the screencast after that, I'm going to show you how to use a different tool that allows you to do this with a little bit more accuracy. I've found that WebMiner is kind of finicky sometimes. Sometimes it won't work, sometimes it won't find certain, or it has difficulty finding terms. But this is probably the first place to start because it's so easy to use and it doesn't require registration or anything like that. So give that a shot, experiment with that, and come back for some more screencasts so I can show you some more cool stuff. Okay, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.